opportunities to spend some time with some of the kids to just try to see how they would react when I say, hey, like, the truth is you probably could score the same way, and you could score at the same rate that you're scoring now doing it your way, or you could do it my way and it'll make very little difference. But I'm going to show it to you anyways, and I want to see how you react when it gets a little uncomfortable and it's out of your norm, and I just want to see. And so I did a lot of that, enough that I could do it without being too much of a jerk about it. But I really wanted to know what was going to happen. And then you fast forward maybe 5 or 6 years later after that, and then we had the NHL camp going on Florida, and a couple of the players said, we want to take this to another level. And I said, well, we shouldn't just add other NHL players. Why don't you invite the girls? But they can't afford to come down here, like, and pay what you guys are paying. So like that's what I would do, but I don't know what you guys want to do. They said, well, we'll pay for it. So we'll bring them down. Let's see, like, put them out there. Let's have some fun. So that's what we did. Brought them down, and we had half and half, kind of half from the Canadian team and half from the U.S. team. We had ambition of getting a couple of the Finns as well, but it was right at the time in which they were having a camp. Otherwise, we would have had them, which would have been really cool. And it was very similar as the first camp that I did. I'm like, okay, now I have half the Canadians, half the Americans. They're all elite players. I'm going to teach them the concepts that we do with the NHL players earlier in the week. And this is all stuff I know they haven't seen, they haven't heard of. This is all new concepts, and I want to see what's going to happen. And it was, again, I came away from there saying, I don't know that we challenge these kids enough. And I think that this is, I'm not maybe the right person to challenge them, because I don't always have the best delivery, because I like to create a problem and then let's see how they react and then overcome it. And we had a week, which turned out to be enough time to be able to get that going. And I had worked with many of them before, so that worked out well. But I still, my takeaway from all of it is that, yes, there are some narratives that are probably true, and that there's some pieces, but I think if we challenge them, I think we can overcome some of those things, and we can get them into an area where they can overcome some of these things that we just unilaterally just put on them as limitations. When I'm not sure that they're limitations, it may be limitations of us. Like I probably at the camp was the biggest limiter for them, because I don't know enough about it, and I was the limiter. And then once I just said, to hell with it, I'm doing it, I'm going to throw it at him, and I saw the responses, I'm like, yeah, if I knew more, if I was smarter about this, I probably could have got a lot more out of them. Like I probably could have. But I'm just not at that level in dealing with them to understand the nuances of how to challenge them in ways that are really going to elicit that response that we need. Where on the men's side, it's easy. You just tell them, like, I don't think you can do this. I just don't think you can do it. And that's all you need to say. I don't think you can do it. I've watched you. I think that you have limitations here. I think you have problems there. I think you have problems here. I frankly just don't think you can do it. I'm willing to help you, but I don't know. And then it's like, you don't think I can do it? Watch this. Get out of the way. Let me show you. Girls not like that. I don't think you can do it. Doesn't work. Like, that's just not the right approach with a female player. So I don't know what those approaches are. I've tried a bunch of different ways. And I want to do more. Like, I feel like I want to learn more. I also want to learn from more women coaches who have a better insight into some of these nuances about how the responses are, how their brain is. And that's why obviously I'm going to foster the relationship with my daughter as a dad-daughter, but I've tried to really foster the relationship between her and I as coach or instructor and student. I've really gone the extra mile because I want to know. I want to know to be able to help her better, but I'm also just curious because I think these kids are way more capable. And I'm an idiot about it. I don't know enough, and it frustrates me because I've been in some really powerful situations, and I just haven't been good enough to be able to get a really good response. And that frustrates me because I'm in unique situations that there's probably 25 to 30 people in the world that are way more qualified or better and would have been able to pull more out of them because they just know more about how these kids react. So a little bit more frustrated from that perspective because if I was better, I would have been able to pull more out of them. But I'm not discouraged. I'm going to try to do more of those environments when the world changes to whatever the world's going to be, and hopefully we're going to be able to have these situations again. But I want to bring people in. Next time, I'm going to bring people in that I think can help me pull more out, so that I'm not the limiting factor, because in those situations, I for sure was.
If I could interject, it's kind of good time to ask this, Darryl. Last week when we were on, and I don't know, you probably do remember this, but if you don't, at that camp in Penticton, there was one of the days I remember it very clearly, where MP Poulin was really struggling with a skill, and she was really putting up walls in terms of you working with her. I remember you being pretty frustrated, and then you worked with her for 20 minutes or half hour after the session, one-on-one. Can you talk a little bit about that and sort of what was going on there, and how you made what you did in particular to sort of reach out